Teacher Victoria here with and from Lead From Home, an open forum for anybody that has an interest in teaching, um, working from home. Put them together and you have Lead From Home, free resources, and the teaching on the ESL online platform. Okay, so thank you for joining me today. Please reach out, subscribe. We are about to get into my top 5 reasons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, why I use the drawing tool in the classroom. Reason number one, reason number one is probably my favorite. No, I think they're all my favorite. Sorry. My reason number one is it makes memories stick. It helps us to remember the whole experience. This includes details about the class and the subject. I'm going to borrow from Graham Shaw, okay? Graham Shaw, who is he, right? Yeah. He is a communication expert, and he's famous for his positions and conversations on TED Talks. I listened recently to one of his shows, and he made a point of saying that even if you're not great at drawing and you don't think that this is really a great thing for you to do, that's okay. Many people feel that way. I know I did at one point. I don't anymore. I actually enjoy drawing. But he says that's not the point. Perfection is not the point. The point is that you do it. Oh, I love it. It resonated with me for a few things. His example that he provided, why he believes that this is a great thing to do, is he remembered that he enjoys going to the museum. So he goes to the museum, he looks at many pieces, and he comes home and he reflects upon the day and he's trying to remember the pieces that he saw. And he doesn't remember too much about them, not a whole lot of details. So he goes back to the museum and he sits and he observes one piece in particular for about 10 minutes. He goes to another, and he probably does this about 5 times, spending 10 minutes at each piece. And he draws and he sketches, and then he goes home. What he remembers during his reflection is that there was so much more detail that he captured. Even if he didn't capture it on his own sketch, he remembered it because of how he processed it. He remembered conversations that he overheard. He remembered having what he had for lunch. He remembered the whole experience, how he felt, how the painting or the overall impressions of the painting or art, whatever exhibit he was looking at. So that brings me to, again, it makes memories stick. And we'll go ahead and tie that with perfection is not the point. All right. I by no means am a perfectionist. And let's go ahead and see how long it takes me to draw maybe, I don't know, let's draw a chicken. Many of our units have chickens or some sort of farm animal. Um, and I'll do my best to draw here because, oh, there we go. This looks a little bit like a duck. And again, perfection is not the point. And my students have pointed out that chickens have pointed beaks. There's my little eyeball. Pointed beaks. And if you draw a pointed beak on a duck, they will tell you it is wrong. So I would tell you then that's okay. Here's my fat little chicken. 1, 2. What makes it different from a duck? There we go. And it's not perfect, but you can tell it's a chicken. I only tweaked a little bit, but it's okay. I'm okay with it. Looks like a fat chicken. And it's going to add to the conversations because I guarantee if you're laughing at your own drawing, your students are probably laughing as well. Or if you do something particularly magnificent, they're going to ooh and ah and praise you just like you praise them. Reciprocity. All right. So that leads me to number 2. I laughed. I enjoyed drawing. It didn't take too long. And it is a great opportunity to release the tension. Say, for example, you're working on something that's a little difficult or becomes a challenge, an unexpected challenge. We anticipate challenges, but we don't really know if something's going to be a challenge for a student until we get there. So again, if you're automatically using drawing tools as an avenue to build upon the lesson, why not bring out drawing after you've practiced something pretty hard? It is a great way to reconnect with the student, reestablish rapport and trust, and it works really well right after a particularly tough activity. I'll give one example of a tough activity that some students find a challenge: pronunciation. So, if you're practicing something for maybe 1 or 2 minutes and you're working on the mouth shapes and they become frustrated, they have become self-aware and there's a block. Using the drawing tool to help them refocus on the actual subject and not the physical challenges that they're experiencing can help. It can also help them start to talk naturally. And that's my number 4. Okay, so let's get to number 3. Enhances the classroom environment. If we're reconnecting and we're checking in and observing the student, how they're responding, we use these drawing tools not only to enhance the lesson and really drive home chicken, chicken. We can also stream the conversation. What comes from it? What does a chicken do? Where does a chicken live? Do you like to eat chicken? Can you have a chicken as a pet? Okay, so you see where I go with the extension opportunities. It enhances the classroom environment because when we draw, we automatically focus. When I drew, I took a little bit of time to say my sentences. It also helps reduce stress and anxiety. It ties nicely with my reason number 2. So it also ties with my reason number 4. Dun, dun, dun. No surprise. When we use draw as a supplementary learning tool, it increases engagement. We can go from words to sentences, by using the drawing tool. As an extension, we can increase rapport and promote learning. Drawing is a neutral way to communicate key themes and information. You might find that your students understood more than they could share aloud. If your student is drawing, if it even goes beyond the rudimentary, and I move my mic, so sorry about the little muffled thing, but it goes beyond the rudimentary TPR that we may be doing. The little fish. What is it? It's a fish. I learned from a 5-year-old how to draw a quick fish. And maybe I should have known before, but this student, so bright and so creative, showed me how to draw the little fish. I said, "What the heck is that?" And she continued to draw her fish. She was very quiet, very meticulous, and she drew the fins, and she did a much better job than I'm doing now. And she drew the little scales. If you have an older student, I'll put my little eyeball there. If you have an older student and you're doing something quickly, that helps with communicating what all sorts of things. Do you eat fish? Where, all sorts of things. I guess what I'm trying to say is that your student is sharing so much more. If you didn't realize that if they're not saying the word, of course, that's the whole point of language learning online, right? But if they're not saying the word, you can praise them here. And then little by little, you're gaining their trust and they're going to know, oh, I see, it's a fish. Or you can do something on the contrary and say, oh, it's a dog. And they get a little upset and they say, no, it's not. Or not. I get that from my younger ones, not. But you teach them to TPR with it and you teach them 1 or 2 words to help support their drawing. And by the time you know it, they're already using 4-word sentences. Again, from words to sentences. That ties it all in and the engagement is there. Okay, number 5. Yay! Enjoyment. Party, party, party. Enjoyment is my number 5. I actually enjoy drawing. If drawing does not bring you enjoyment, then I know this might be a struggle. Remember, perfection is not the point, but draw to model behaviors. Draw because you enjoy it and draw to have fun. I'm going to leave you with this. One thing Steve Jobs had said, and I'm going to paraphrase because that's just me, but he said that in order to do good work, you have to love it. You have to enjoy it. And why is that? Because our students are so receptive, so impressionable to who we are, how we are in the classroom. And that ties everything together. 5 reasons why I draw. It makes memories stick. It's a tension buster. It enhances the classroom environment. It increases engagement and enjoyment, not just for me, but for my students. All right. I had a great time with you guys. Stay tuned for how to choose the drawing tool, how to make it work in the classroom, and which ones have been most successful in my classroom. I hope to see you again soon. Happy teaching. Goodbye.